Hi, welcome back. Today's reading answers the question, who will you marry? Or who will you commit to if marriage is not your thing? So let's find out. Let's take a look at your options now. For group 1, we have copper, and we are using the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. For group 2, we have Tangerine Quartz, and we are using the Mermaid Tarot. For group 3, we have Prehnite, and we are using the Mystical Cats Tarot. Okay, meet me in your reading when you're ready. Hi, group 1. You chose the copper and the Tarot of the Witch's Garden. Welcome to your reading. Today, we find out who you're going to marry or commit to for the long term. And we're going to start with who this person is. So I've just shuffled this deck, so let's dive right in. So let's find out who they are. And just to give you a preview of what else we're going to look at, we're going to see what they might look like, what you'll love the most about them, what it will be like between you at first, what you're like together in the future, and then we'll get a sign for you to look for that it's them. Okay, so who is the person that you're going to marry? Seven of Cups. The Eight of Swords. Judgment. And we have the Two of Swords. Okay, so the first thing is that this person in some ways feels a little complicated, and not in a bad way, not in a stressful way, but they're complex. This is not, they may have aspects to them that are simple or come across as simple, but I don't know if you have to know them to get to all these aspects of them, or if it's obvious right up front. But this is someone who has certainly lived some life. So whether they are young or older, they've gone through things in their life. They've gone through struggles and stresses and indecisiveness and not knowing what to do. And, it feels like at times they've wanted to please other people. Like maybe they've wanted to please their family or their culture or, people in their lives, and yet they felt a calling to move toward other things. And so it seems like this person has had to learn to break free from the limitations that have put on them, the beliefs and ideas that other people have had for them. And this person has had to tune into their own gut sense, their own intuition, their own desires, and what they want out of life. And I think this person has a great deal of internal strength, and that it has been very difficult for them at times to move in the directions that they truly want to go, because they don't want to upset people, or they don't want to be disapproved of, or they don't want to be cast out in some way. And I think this person has certainly dealt with some anxiety and perhaps a lot of stress in the past, and they have worked through a lot of things. I think this person has gone down a healing road, whether that is, spiritual healing or emotional or mental healing or even physical healing. It's very possible that this person is somebody who had some kind of a physical illness or issue or something that held them back physically that was very binding for them, very stressful for them. And it seems that they did a lot of things to break free from this. And in some ways they have. This feels like a really intelligent person and someone who is quite analytical and can really think through and process a lot of things, but they may be a little bit slow to do that. This person feels a little bit more like an internal processor, someone that takes their time, so there's like external and internal processors. The external processors are typically the people who want to talk things out in the moment, who like really just want to work it out right now. Let's talk it out. And internal processors are usually like, I need a little bit of space. I need to think about this. I need to understand how I feel. I would say this person is the latter. I'm getting a lot of heart chakra stuff with this person, like in a healthy way. So it feels like their heart chakra is really activated right now. And so that could be, again, because they've kind of done work on it. But here's what it feels like to me. Not only are they capable of love and compassion for other people, but it's coming through really strongly in the sense that this person has really had to learn how to love themselves and really love their own limitations, love their own, if they have had a physical issue in the past, and I'm not saying that they have, this could be for some of you, and it limited them and they felt angry and they felt resentful of their body in this example. They've learned to love themselves enough to be okay on days that are hard, days that are not so easy, anything, whether that's physical, emotional, whatever it is. It seems like they've come to terms with certain things. And because they have done that, they've also moved through things that kept them bound. And again, there's a freedom that seems to have come forth with this person. In some ways, the Seven of Cups makes me think about this person having had different sort of identities or roles that they played. Not that this is somebody who like switches identities on a dime because they don't know who they are. In fact, I feel very strongly that this person deeply knows who they are, or it knows more about who they are than the average person, and really has come to terms or has acceptance for themselves in the ways that like they feel good about themselves and other people feel good about this person, and in the ways that they feel less so. There's still a love for themselves and an acceptance around this. But when, what I was saying here about like different roles or identities, like this person may if this person is a little bit older and they've lived a lot of life, they may have like all these kind of different stages of life that they tell you about, like, oh yeah, like those 2 years I was living in this other country, and then the next 2 years when I did this really weird job, and then it could be something like this, or it could also be that they've kind of been, it sort of feels like they could have been like the person for a lot of people. Like they were someone's child, someone's parent, someone's sibling, someone's friend. Like we all do play a lot of different roles, but there's something about like a lot of different people sort of leaning on this person. And I wonder if that got like it was fulfilling in a way and satisfying in a way, but I wonder if it started to feel kind of tiring or exhausting, or like it kind of started to feel a little bit like a trap, like it was like a limitation on this person's freedom. And I wonder if they took like a big or a bold step forward, like moving to another place far away from everyone they knew, or like working toward a career everyone thought was a bad idea, or doing something like that felt rebellious. And I think that they actually got a lot of approval and love and care for this. I think that they can be a little bit conflicted, especially mentally. And I think that This person could be a little bit indecisive sometimes. Like, it might not be about everything. They might be a decisive person, but then when it comes to certain things that sort of trigger something for them where like they're worried about upsetting someone else, like I think it's really hard for them to make a choice in their best interests if they think it will hurt someone else, or if someone else expresses that it will hurt them. This person cares very deeply for other people, and especially people, you know, close people in their life, family and friends and a partner. And so I think they get quite a bit of anxiety sometimes when it comes to these choices that feel like they're so afraid of being selfish or hurting another person that I think sometimes it holds them back. But I do think that they've freed their mind quite a lot over time, or they're currently in the process of doing that. But there's something about their care and love for other people that can almost hold them back sometimes. And it's not that like, you know, them loving people is wrong in any way. It's one of their most wonderful qualities, but it seems like they've either done this or are doing this where they're learning to love themselves and prioritize themselves just as much as other people. And in fact, maybe a little bit more, which is a good thing. I think this person may also have like a lot of interests, a lot of hobbies, or they read a lot, or they like to take in a lot of information. Again, I really feel like this person's really smart, really intelligent. I don't know whether or not they've like studied a lot in a formal way, like if they have like degrees and things like that. But regardless, I think they know a lot of things. They know how to do a lot of things. And I don't think they always give themselves enough credit for this. And I think for some of you, this person like definitely has felt like they can't trust their own judgment. And we've talked a little bit about that, but it kind of feels around like when they bring new people into their lives. Like, I think that this person has been hurt before by romantic relationships or friendships or this kind of a thing. And so sometimes they question their ability to see clearly. This person does feel like a really kind, compassionate person. I wonder if they come across a little bit serious at first. I'm having trouble telling if some of this energy is like current energy that's changing before they meet you, or past energy. Some of it's current, but some of it feels like it's fading. So it could be that this person like in the past came across very serious, but now they're more kind of like happy-go-lucky. I don't know, but there's a serious nature to this energy where they have a lightness to them. They don't feel heavy to me, but I think sometimes they get a little bit bogged down mentally. So they tend to like overthink, overanalyze, and they have a little bit of like anxiety, but they feel like a really lovely, really good person and someone who's very nurturing, and actually feel like this person might be quite like huggable or like snuggly or something. I think that, this person could be chatty, but I do get some quiet energy from them. And so that could be that they have a tendency to be quiet, or that they're more introverted and that they need some kind of space or alone time from here and there. And like, they may go a little quiet. I think this is the type of person that you'll like see just kind of like looking off in the distance and pondering things. And then they may like, I think like sometimes they do have these really like wise or interesting things that they say, or really intelligent things. But then there are these times when you're like, oh wow, what is this person going to say? They've been like staring into space for so long. And then they just say like the silliest thing that was on their mind. I think this person will surprise you in ways, but actually, let's do this. So I've got some physical features written on these cards. So I'm going to pull a few of these and see what might they look like. I don't want you to take this part too seriously. If this resonates for you, perfect. For some of you, you may resonate with the energy, but the cards pulled may not be accurate for you. This is kind of just for fun because people sometimes ask and want to know. So Let me give this a quick shuffle. So what might this person look like? Oops, it's a bad shuffle. Okay. What might this person look like? Okay, we've got wears all black, autumn complexion, dresses well. Heterochromia. That's definitely not going to be the case for everybody, but that's having two different colored eyes. But it also makes me think that this person may have really like mesmerizing eyes or really beautiful eyes that just draw you in and you could just stare into. Let's see what else. Athletic build, nice arms. Okay, and what else? We have a solid build, short hair, and dark eyebrows. Maybe one more to be even. And looks huggable. What did I say? This person's huggable. Okay, so, all of these things could be true. None of them could be true. Some of them could be true. These things are coming across as a little bit more masculine, but I also think that's because more women tend to watch. But if you are a straight man, if you are a woman into like women, whatever, like whoever you are and whoever you're into, some of these things could be the case. Like, this person could have long hair, but so this person could wear all black. They could dress in monochrome colors. They dress well. So I think that regardless of what they wear and whether that's like a uniform they wear, I used to work for somebody he was like a cartoon character in the sense that he always wore a plain black t-shirt, plain black shorts. I never saw him in anything else. And I just imagined him opening his closet every day in black t-shirt. And it was so funny. I liked him a lot. He was a cool person. But, it could be something like this where this person like has a uniform. But I think whether or not they do, I think that you like the way that they dress. It looks good on their body. And yeah, they could have an autumn complexion. So people who are autumns, like I'm an autumn, tend to have tend to look good in like autumnal colors. So browns and beiges and warm colors and greens and things like that. They could have like brown hair, brown eyes. Like I said, I think you're really going to like their eyes, but someone in this group could certainly have two different colored eyes. Dark eyebrows leads me to believe again that this person has like maybe brown hair or darker hair, and darker features, maybe a medium or darker skin tone, but not necessarily. So we've got athletic build and solid build. So I think that this person is, even if they're lean, they're very solid. And even if they are athletic, they could be a little thicker. There's a few different things here, but I think what's coming through really with like the huggable and the solid and the athletic build is that this person is very like, they have a stable quality to them and to the way that they look. You might think they have really nice arms or really nice limbs, legs, hands, and very possibly they have short hair. Okay, so let's clear these out of the way and see what you are going to love the most about them. And then we're going to find out kind of what you guys are like together. Okay, so back to the tarot. I'm going to give this one more shuffle. Okay, so what will you love most about this person? Knight of Cups. Temperance. We have the Two of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. Okay, so what will you love most about this person? I'm just going to shut my curtain really quick because it's getting dark. Okay, so first things first, we have a romantic on our hands, especially with this Knight of Cups. So I think you're really going to love the way that this person shows up romantically. They may be quite romantic in the sense that they, write you love letters, write you poems, write you little songs, or maybe they leave you little gifts or remember important things about you. Maybe they always get you your favorite snack or your favorite candy or your favorite drink, or they just when they know you're having a busy day, they do little things to make your day easier or more fun. I think that, sometimes the Knight of Cups can be the type of person who's romantic but not actually stable. But this person feels super, super stable to me and very balanced. And again, it feels like they've been through some things and that they've done some healing. And so this Knight of Cups feels very grounded, and we have all this green in this one too. And it feels like this person is really going to love you, and it's so obvious that they love you. I don't know if your love languages are the same or if they really try to lean into what your love languages are, but you're really going to love the fact that this person acts in ways that are so loving to you. It's so clear that you are who they want to be with, that this is exactly where they want to be, that this is where they feel love and they feel in love. And this is cool too, because in this Knight of Cups, we see the knight having taken off some of their armor. And so it feels like this person slowly reveals themselves and opens themselves up to you and feels safe and comfortable around you and safe and comfortable being themselves and expressing their emotional side and their romantic side. And I think that this makes you really happy too. And it also allows you to do the same thing. This person feels like they have a very peaceful energy, which I have been feeling this whole time. And again, like I said, I think that they can get kind of mentally caught up and overanalyze, and they can get anxious and stuff like that. But the core of them has a peacefulness to them. And I do think that this person has gone through some kind of healing. Again, I don't know if that's physical or mental or what it is. Maybe it's healing on all levels, but they've moved through things and become more peaceful. And I think that this person has always had a peaceful quality to their energy. But I think that, we get kind of caught up in what the people around us think and want and what society thinks and wants and the things that we have to do, like work and chores and errands, and we get caught up in beliefs and things like that. And I think that sometimes our true nature and who we really are can end up being a little bit hidden, if we're stressed out and whatever else. But when it comes down to who this person really is, there's a calm quality to them and a hopeful, optimistic quality. And it also, I think that not only will you like that about them, but I think that you'll really like how calm you feel in this relationship with this person. It has a calming effect. There's a very peaceful quality, a very harmonious quality. If you're the type of person that looks for more constant spark by this isn't sparkless. Don't get me wrong. There are sparks here, and certainly there's a lot of romance. But if you're someone who likes to kind of have debates or, you're quite spicy and you want someone quite spicy too, this may not be your group. I definitely think you could be a very different person than this person is. But if you think that you will end up in a relationship where it feels peaceful and harmonious, this could definitely be your group, because there's a lot of peaceful, balanced, harmonious energy going on here, and things being reciprocal and balanced and equal. this is feeling really respected by the other person and respecting this person too. There's so much mutual love, care, nurturing, compassion and attraction and all of these things. This is a really comforting place to come home to. And so I can really understand why some of you would marry this person or commit to them, because it does feel like coming home. It feels like safety. It feels like a nurturing little bubble of coziness and a place where you can both be yourselves and you can let down your guard and you can just sort of breathe a sigh of relief and be easy. This Temperance card in the background has this like pretty home, this cottage, and like all this beautiful land. So again, this calls to mind this feeling of coming home, of feeling safe. And like, there's also this sense of like, this person feels like home. And so because you always have this home to come back to, you feel safe moving in other directions in life. In the Temperance card, we often have this figure kind of like blending the energies of two things. And so this also makes me think about like, when you have love figured out and a relationship figured out and you feel very solid and stable here, it allows you to blend other things into your life, to make room for other things because you feel so safe and so secure. And I think that you feel just more confident in who you are because of this person. Besides what I've already said about the Two of Pentacles, this can talk about this person being good with money. So sure, we could talk about them having money, being wealthy, but that's not necessarily the case. It certainly could be for some of you, but it feels more like this person is responsible, reliable, dependable, that they're not going to just be impulsive and waste all their money, or it just feels like they're not impulsive. I'm going to tell you that right now. Nothing about this person feels impulsive to me. It feels like they're very solid, very stable. And in fact, they get kind of anxious. So they're not going to be impulsive and not to say they never will be, because even if you're not an impulsive person, you might still do something impulsively. I'm not an impulsive person, and yet I've done things impulsively. But this person, if they do something impulsively, they'll regret it. And so they've learned from making mistakes in the past. And certainly they could have made mistakes when it comes to other relationships where they jumped in head first. They didn't kind of figure out what the best path would be or really tune into their intuition. And so they're a lot more careful now. And I see this as a good quality, probably because I am that kind of person too. But again, if you are kind of like more free-spirited and you want to be with someone that's super spontaneous, this one might not be your group, because I think that this part of the reason like this feels so safe and so comforting is this person isn't a different person every day. They're consistently the same person. They probably are quite slow to make decisions, slow to, especially like major decisions, things that feel like a big deal. Like, if you are buying a house together or something like that, you may even get frustrated with this person because they keep weighing the pros and cons. But I think that you'll really respect and love the fact that this person doesn't leap in. They take a minute to think about things. And I think that in a lot of ways, like even if you feel annoyed in the moment, you'll be glad sometimes that they took their time because you both realized something that you may not have. Like if we take this like house example, like you walk into a house and you're like, I love this one. And they're like, well, hold on. There's a few things that I'm picking up on that I'm not sure about. Like, this thing seems weird about this and that. And you're like annoyed because you really want this place. But then because they took their time, you end up finding out something about this house where you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad we didn't get it. It's this kind of a thing. So I think ultimately you're really grateful for the fact that they can be kind of methodical and that they can take their time and that, these qualities in them. And also, it's so nice, I think, to be with someone who is reliable. And this person feels reliable. They show up when they say they're going to show up. They do the things that they say they're going to do. They're not going to promise something that they aren't going to do. This person doesn't make false promises. They don't lie. I think it feels very uncomfortable in their body if they lie. And they would rather just tell the truth and face the consequences at this point, because I do have this sense again that this person in their past may not have been truthful, not in a way to hurt people, but like if a lot of people were leaning on them and it was starting to wear on them, they didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. It's this kind of thing where like hiding how they truly felt in some way in the past ultimately hurt them and gave people incorrect expectations. And so they don't want to do things like that. And so, yeah, you can really count on this person to be honest and to tell you the truth. And this is someone you can lean on. And I think that some people would find this person a little bit boring. Again, because I just think that there's some people who need more like, they need to fight a little bit, I think. And so if you've been in situations where fighting was really stressful, or like someone seemed to always want to debate you on and everything, and it really made you anxious, this is going to be like that sweet sigh of relief where you don't have to worry about that. And that's not to say you might disagree about things or that you might not always get along, because I can tell that there's going to be things that probably annoy you a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Also, we have the Four of Cups. So this makes me think about when you feel down, when you feel discouraged, when you feel like things aren't going your way or like nothing's ever going to change, this person swoops in and helps you. And this isn't the meaning that I usually get with the Four of Cups, but this is really sweet. And like, look at this fairy here. Not only are they offering another cup, but they've got a smile on their face and flowers in their hand. And it feels like this person really wants to see you happy and wants to see you feel safe and calm and wants you to not give up on your dreams or life, or when things go wrong, they want to remind you that life can still be beautiful. And I think you're really, really going to love the way that this person supports you and sympathizes with you and has compassion for you and just wants to cheer you up and wants you to be happy. So what will it be like between you at first? Okay. Wheel of Fortune. Chariot. And the Ten of Cups. Cool. Okay, we've got two major arcana here and a super happy cups card. This is really interesting because this is more like energy that I would maybe expect to see further down the line. But what this is saying to me is that really, really quickly, I think you both have a very strong sense that this is a person that is right for you, that this is perhaps meant to be, fated, something you've been waiting for, feels like a soulmate, the one, someone that you can spend your life with, someone that you can see ultimate happiness with, and someone that you like genuinely want to move forward with. For those of you who have felt like you've never really been with someone that you wanted to be with for long term, or some of you maybe have never dated, or you've like tried to make it work with people in the past and it just never did, this feels very different, but in a way, it also feels very familiar. So this is that whole love at first sight kind of a thing. You know, and I know some people think love at first sight is just lust at first sight. And I think that is true for some people. but there's a sense that you have very early on, whether that is the first time that you encounter this person or once you really start to kind of talk to each other or get to know each other. It feels major, it feels important, and right away you both kind of want to move forward. It doesn't feel like one of you's into it, one of you's not, like you have to convince somebody. None of that. It's, again, there's a mutual thing constantly between you. The Wheel of Fortune can talk about luck, and honestly, it can talk about good or bad luck, but I usually get good luck with it. So it definitely speaks to something feeling lucky, and it can talk about fate, and it can feel like fate. It can feel like something finally coming into your life that you have been asking for. The Chariot can move quite quickly, and so it can feel like this isn't so. With the way that this person kind of overthinks and stuff like that, and the way that their energy feels, and because they're not impulsive, I don't think that this is a situation where like you meet each other and a week later you get married. You know what I mean? But I think that they will be quite surprised at how comfortable they feel moving toward this, that they could have some fears crop up around like, are they being impulsive? Are they moving too quickly? They may be questioning themselves. Perhaps you could be as well. But there's a consistent feeling like this is meant to be, like there's something special here. I want to keep moving toward it. And so it may feel like it's going really quickly to one or the other of you. Especially if you want to move really slow, but like to an outsider, it may be moving really slow. You know, there's something like that here, but there's another feeling of kind of meant to be with this Chariot, and feeling like there's some kind of divine intervention that has brought you together. There's some kind of like, it feels like the angels are protecting you, that you were meant to be, that you are each other's wish come true. And I think very quickly, you feel like this is someone you could grow a life with, whether that is wanting a partner, wanting a family, children, pets, wanting to have a home together, wanting to build something together, whatever it is for you. Very quickly, you both sort of see a future and may even start talking about it. And it kind of almost feels like accidental. Like one of you says something like more serious than you mean to right off the bat, and the other person is like, oh, okay, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't think we were going to say it yet. So I think when you first come together, it's like rainbows and flowers and stars and like hearts in your eyes, and like a kind of a giddy excitement that this really could be it. And I think right away there's this feeling of safety with one another, even though you don't quite know each other totally just yet. Yeah, it feels really, really lucky. And the 10 of Cups feels super lucky too. And a lot of times with the 10 of Cups, I just feel like it's with the rainbow that you're finding your gold at the end of the rainbow, something you've been wanting, something you've been looking for, something you've been dreaming of. And we have this little house again in the background. And it just feels like this person already feels like home. So let's find out what you're like together in the future as time goes on. And do another quick shuffle. Whoops. Okay. The 8 of Wands. The 9 of Wands, the Ace of Swords. And the King of Wands. Okay. So, you know, I said before that this person might be kind of quiet at times, and I do think that that remains the case. But the more you know this person, the more chatty they become and the more chatty you become together. So there's a lot of talkative, chatty energy, being very connected, passionately. We have 3 wands cards here. So I think that this is really nice because it's like, sometimes when you're really into someone right away, then the passion kind of goes away once you get to know them more, because it's like, oh, you're that kind of person. But this is like passion increasing, because this is the first time I'm really noticing that. I noticed the attraction, I noticed the chemistry and the like feelings between you, but now here's more of the passion and the physical aspect to things as well. And also a whole lot of communication energy here. So over time, over the years, as you are close, as you know each other, and even as you like live together, and it's very clear that you are together for the long haul, things just grow in passion and in communication. So there's not only even more comfortability with one another, but like a greater exuberance and a joy about the other person. It's not even just love. It's not even respect or appreciation. Those things are here. But the longer you know each other, the more hot you find each other. Like even as you age, as you get older, it's like you have eyes only for each other. There's something very special about your bond and the relationship that you form. And it's almost like chemistry just continues to increase and increase and increase. And you always have things to talk about. You always have you find things to be interested in. I think that there's a lot of like joking that happens between you. That could be inside jokes. It could be like a little bit of teasing. And I think that, a lot of times the 9 of Wands can be a little bit stressful. It can be feeling like you're at the end of your rope or you're injured. And yet this 9 of Wands doesn't have that energy to it, at least not right now. It also speaks to passion. It also speaks to me of doing anything for the other person. Like you always have each other's back. You will always be there to support and protect the other person. And that things that could feel difficult in other relationships feel fun in this one. So like, I'm trying to think of an example here. If someone you're in a relationship with does like a super annoying thing all the time, and you slowly grow resentment and like anger and irritation, there's something about like, if that were to happen with this person, it like sparks something else in you where, instead of like getting, like if someone just leaves their dirty socks everywhere and you would get so annoyed, this person does it and you think of like a prank to get them back, which makes you both laugh, and then they stop doing it. It's something like this where the energy is different because of the way that you are with one another. It feels like you only ever get closer and closer and closer. There's a lot of heat between you and a lot of physical chemistry, and it feels like a lot of like mental, like passionate talking. There's a lot of like laughter, making each other laugh, doing kind of silly things. And like, even though you both feel like smart people and this person might have like an intellectual side to them, although again, I don't know if they're like, it could be different for all of you, but it kind of feels like there's some people here where this person's really smart, but they didn't really get like degrees or anything. Like they're not like pretentious about it, certainly. But I think that if there is kind of like an intellectual side to the relationship early on, it's not that it disappears, but you kind of get more silly with each other over the years and more playful and kind of more youthful. It's kind of like your relationship ages in reverse. Like there's a lot of kind of like serious feelings right at the start, but once it's like determined that there is seriousness, and we have a little house in this Ace of Swords again too. Once it's determined, once you're committed, once you like know who each other are, it's like all hell breaks loose in like a fun way, like you don't hold anything back anymore. You know everything about each other, and it's not boring. It's so much fun. So, this is really fun. And I think that you will surprise one another even as the years go, that like you could be like a dinner party and like someone asks your spouse some question and you think you know the answer to it, but you're listening anyway. And they say something that you had no idea about. And you're like, who are you? I thought I knew everything about you. And, you know, wands, and especially the King of Wands, always bring to mind like authenticity and being completely uniquely yourself. And there's a feeling of like your relationship being incredibly unique, both of you individuals being incredibly unique, and it just like creating something really cool. Yeah. And like Ace of Swords is about success. It's about clarity. It's about something new. And again, I think there are constantly going to be new things in your relationship, and not things that like pull it off course or feel destabilizing, but it's like exciting. There's something very exciting. And I think the fact that like both of you are going to feel so stable and so respected and so loved, it allows you to like reveal so much more about yourselves and to open up and to like explore new things, like explore the world together. The wands can be about travel. You could certainly be traveling the world together or going on trips together, but I feel a strong sense of like joyful fun between you. So finally, let's get you a sign that it's this person. I think you're going to know. But now I'm starting to think, do I want to do tarot or do I want to pull an oracle card? I'm just looking at my cards right now. I'm going to pull a tarot card, and if I don't like it, I'm going to pull an oracle card. How does that sound? Okay, so let's get a sign from the universe that it will be this person. Okay, we've got the 7 of Pentacles. So this could be a sign that it is this person or a sign that they're drawing nearer to you. So 7, the number 7, could certainly be a sign. We have pumpkins and gourds and squashes. So any of that kind of stuff. Or this can be about autumn. And I know not everyone has like an autumn with changing leaves and things like that, depending on where you live, but it could still be autumn time, whatever time of year that is for you. There are tattoos here. So something about like tattoos or tattoo shops, or like you keep seeing the same tattoo on people, something like that. We have a cane, or we could say a stick. This maroon cloth right here, it could be that this person is wearing red or maroon, or you start seeing that color everywhere, or you feel very drawn to wearing it. Because this person is looking at cards, whether they are tarot or oracle or Lenormand, it could be that you keep getting readings telling you similar things or the same kinds of details, or you get a personal reading and it verifies something for you. So it certainly could be like the fact that like things keep coming through readings for you. So that I think tells you that this person's on their way. And yeah, greens and oranges and maroons and like autumnal colors could be important. So my sweet angels, group 1, thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this reading or if you found it helpful, please let me know by liking the video. It really helps me. Leave a comment if you feel like that. That helps a lot too. Subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, I'll see you again soon. Bye. Hi, group 2. You chose the Tangerine Quartz and the Mermaid Tarot. Welcome to your reading today. So we are finding out who you're going to marry or commit to for the long term. And we're going to start with who they are. We will also look at what they might look like, what you will love most about them, what it will be like between you at first, what you're like together in the future. And then we'll get a potential sign that it's them or that they're coming in. I've just shuffled this deck, so we're going to dive right in. And like I said, we're going to start with who this person is that you are going to be with. the Three of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, the Two of Swords, and finally we have the Wheel of Fortune. And I did group 1 yesterday, so I can't fully remember what they had, but I feel like at least 3 of these cards were there. But, okay, group 1. So who is this person? Well, I have to say right away, the energy that comes in is quite lovely, which is nice. Group 1 had lovely energy too, although this one does feel different. It may just be that this is the Mermaid Tarot, but it's got a very watery energy. So, of course, that makes me think about water signs. This person may or may not be a water sign. They may or may not have a lot of water in their astrology chart. But I would say, regardless, this is someone who seems to have an emotional depth available. And yet I think that they're not very outwardly emotional a whole lot. Like, I think that this person has a steady quality to them. I think that it's possible that they work very hard. They probably work with other people, or they work well with others, even when it's not a career or a job type of a thing. Like, they tend to do well in their relationships. It's interesting because the Two of Swords has 2 people in it, and normally we only have 1 figure in the Two of Swords. So this again leads me to believe that this person collaborates with other people in some way. And so either it's certainly possible that they work alone, but this could be someone who probably doesn't have a work from home job where they're alone all the time. And even if they do, in other ways in their life, they spend time with people. I would not call this person a hermit, even though they certainly could be an introvert. They could need alone time, that kind of stuff. But I would say that relationships are a pivotal thing for this person and in this person's life, and that they may prioritize other people quite a lot, or they consider other people. I think that this person is good at giving and receiving. I think that they really like to communicate with others, work on things with other people. There's just something very strong here about other people being important, and not just that there are other people in their life that they love, but this could be someone who really likes to talk to strangers, who likes to get to know new people, who considers everyone a friend until proven otherwise. I think that they like to explore a lot of different aspects of life, and that could be taking on different hobbies or learning different languages, but it could also just be they like to explore. I'm looking out my back window and there's a squirrel on the roof back there, just looking at my window. But there is a feeling with this person where they like to explore the emotional side of life, the mental side of life, the physical side of life, the spiritual, like they may like to try different foods, go to different places. I think that there's a curiosity very present with this person. And actually what I see is that they're curiosity driven. So they are motivated by the things that they're currently curious about. So if someone tells them an interesting fact, they could go down a rabbit hole for weeks about that, and it be like all they want to talk about for a little bit, but then they become curious about something else, like cooking a certain kind of cuisine, and then they go down that little rabbit hole. And I think that it doesn't make this person like, because with some people it's like they're always on to the next thing, and it's like a pattern through their lives where they're even on to the next relationship, etc. This person, more just what I get from them is that they like to learn. They like to experience things that they're excited about, but there's still a consistent thing about them where like they have a consistent identity. They seem to be a consistent person. but they're just very interested in the world and in the life that you can have here as a person. And I think that there's a lot of different things that kind of light them up and bring them joy. And I think that it can be really cute actually when they're excited about something, because you might learn something interesting too. And it's not really that energy of like, they get entirely focused on something to the exclusion of everything else. Again, there's this feeling of like kind of collaborating and always being aware of the things around them and being aware of other people. And they may consider themselves like a jack of all trades, or they just know a little bit about so many different things. It is possible with the way that this Two of Swords is looking that they may like to kind of spar a little bit with other people. Like they may like to have a little bit of like a debate about, oh, you think that about this. This is what I think about this. Let's like talk it out because I'm curious about your perspective. Again, it seems to come back to a curiosity thing with them. And it's interesting because I keep seeing the phrase curiosity driven. They are driven by curiosity. They are moved forward by being curious about things in the world, about other people. And I think they are very, very curious when it comes to other people, whether that is new people that they're meeting for the first time or just for a moment, or people that have been in their lives a long time. It doesn't feel like their curiosity ends just because they've known someone for 10 years. They're still always curious. They're still always kind of digging a little bit deeper to see how someone truly feels about something, or why they feel the way they do, or what they would do in a certain scenario. I think this person asks really fun and interesting questions of other people. And it actually feels like the more they know someone, the more they kind of want to go a little bit deeper. And there's a really fun quality to them. It's like kind of like, it's funny because what I get is easygoing, and yet I notice energy with them that's wouldn't always be called easygoing by other people. But there's a really fun, loving aspect to this person. And I think there's a lot of things that kind of spark joy within them and make them smile and laugh. I would say that this person more than likely does not come across as overly serious. They give me kind of a smiley, happy energy. I think that they really love to engage with new people. Like I think they'd have to be in the mood, but like if they go to a party and someone comes up to them and strikes up a conversation, they're overjoyed to be having it. I don't think they love every single person. Like I think some people irritate them, but I think they love people, and they see how complicated we all are, how interesting we all are, how special we all are. And there's something to be seen in anyone, something to be talked about with anyone. I think that this person is quite likable by a lot of people, though I will say that they'd certainly rub some people the wrong way, but who doesn't? It feels like this person never stays stagnant for too long. They tend to always they may have little bouts of feeling like sad or down or things like that, but they're always still moving forward once again. And it's almost like, if they don't have something to be interested in or something to be curious about, that's when they start to feel a little bit down. But as soon as something strikes their interest once again, they're running forward. And it's an interesting way that I'm kind of seeing this Wheel of Fortune, because I don't think I've gotten this message with this card before, but I just keep seeing like a hand like pulling this forward. It's like they're always moving forward. They're always willing to do what it takes. And this wheel sort of feels like it's been sitting here for a long time, kind of gathering I don't know what this plant material is, the moss of the sea, whatever. But it feels like, if something starts to feel or become stagnant, they'll pull and move the wheel until it's flowing once again. They always want to continue to flow. And it's sort of about moving forward, but it's kind of like they're just always wanting to explore what else. And I think they make a really good friend and a really good person to have in their life and in your life or someone else's life. And I think that they help people question their own beliefs and their own stagnancy and their own stuckness. I think this person helps spur other people forward and helps motivate other people. I feel like I could talk and talk and talk about this person, and I do want to move on because I don't want to spend too much time on this section so that we can get to everything else. But it's really hard for me to want to stop because it just feels like there's so much energy propelling this person forward, and that I just feel like this person never lets anything get dull. And, sometimes, like I kind of said, there are some people who like just get bored very easily. And so they're always on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. This person doesn't get bored easily. They're just so intrigued. It's like they already like this thing, but then they found out a new aspect of it. Time to go down that rabbit hole. I think that this person has a great deal of like excitement and joy that often comes forward, but it feels steady, like it's just a little like hint of happiness that they sow into everything that they do. And I do think it's possible that this person could enjoy cooking and could enjoy like food or like sharing meals with other people or inviting other people over or cooking for other people, something like this. Again, like I really feel like I want to keep going, but I don't want to spend 20 minutes on this and then we just don't get to address everything else. And I feel like at some point you're going to get bored of hearing the same things. But I think it also feels like this person could always keep up a conversation, always think of something to say, and yet they don't feel like someone who never stops talking at all. It doesn't feel like this person is like a chatterbox to the degree that they just talk and talk and talk and talk. I think this person listens quite well, especially because they're so interested in other people's perspectives and how they do things. But I also feel it's like this person could be like silent all day, but you glance over at them and they just have like a little spark of joy in their eyes, or like they're reading something or they're smiling to themselves. There's something kind of like always active with this person, but they're not always talking. So actually, I'm going to go grab my coffee. Okay, so actually, we're not going to use tarot next. We're going to use these cards that I have like physical features on. So now we're going to look at what they might look like. And I told group 1 this, I'm going to tell group 3 this. Don't take this part too seriously. Like if it sounds like someone you'll be attracted to or someone you would be with, great. If it confirms something for you, great. But this is a collective reading. So even though we're reading this energy, physical features often don't have as much to do with energy. So if you don't like this, but you like everything else in the reading, just disregard this part. That's all I have to say. Okay, so I'm going to give these a quick shuffle. So what might this person look like? Nice legs. Medium height, hazel eyes. Average normal style. Beautiful smile. Looks huggable. Long hair. Straight hair. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Although I kept seeing when I was shuffling, I kept seeing the card that says they wear glasses. So they could wear glasses or even contacts. Again, they could have some of these qualities, none of these qualities, all of these qualities. But it seems like you might really like their legs or the way that their body is shaped or the way that they move. Of course, they could be short or tall, but they could be kind of like average height or a medium height, hazel eyes or like brown or green eyes, but they may just have like pretty eyes the closer that you look at them. Average or normal style. So even though this person comes across as really interesting, it could be that they dress in kind of a really normal way, a t-shirt and jeans, like button-ups, I don't know, like they probably don't dress super crazy or super interesting, although of course they might, but they may just really look good in like just a basic t-shirt. A beautiful smile. I am not surprised to see this because they come across as really smiley and having a really sweet face and a really smiley face. They look huggable. So they probably are quite huggable. They probably give quite a good hug. And I wouldn't be surprised about that based on the energy that we've gotten. But they may, sometimes I feel like people with like a little extra look very huggable, although you just never know. I mean, some people are really good at hugs and some people aren't. They could certainly have long, straight hair. It doesn't mean they will, but we do have women with long hair. We have a man with long hair. So certainly this person could have long hair and it could be straight. Who knows? So now that we've looked at that, because I know sometimes people want that, and so I thought I would include that in this reading. Let's find out what will you love most about them, and then we'll get into what it's like between the two of you. So, my sweet group 2, let's draw you some more tarot cards. What will you love most about this person? The World. The Magician. The Six of Wands. And the Nine of Cups. Okay, so what will you love most about your future spouse, your future partner? Well, we have pretty big energies here, so that doesn't surprise me based on the fact that this could be someone that you marry. So whenever I pull the World in a reading like this, it just makes me think that they're your whole world in some way, like you love everything about them. And of course, like, do we ever really love everything about someone? There's usually something that annoys us or something we could like do without. But the thing is that this overall energy is just like you have such a big, huge love for this person that is so expansive and maybe even at times a little overwhelming, because it's like you just find this person to be so wonderful. And you love them so much for who they are and for what they bring into your life and for the relationship, that you form together. You know, the World is also a card of successful completion in a really positive way. It's not really necessarily about something ending, but it's about like finding fulfillment and finding completion and finding satisfaction. And it feels like you finally found that in this relationship, and it makes you really happy. And so you partly love this person for what they've given you and for what you've built together and for what you've created together. The Magician is make me think about a few things. And like one thing with the Magician is this is a card of an individual. It can be about being autonomous. And one thing that comes forward with that is that you really love that you still have your own autonomy, your own independence. You are still your own person. You are not so wrapped up in this relationship that you become a melded together person instead of two separate people. You're still two separate people with two separate belief systems and interests and relationships with other people. And even though you're forming a world together that's very inclusive of both of you and of the people in both of your lives and things like that, you can still stand on your own feet and make magic. You still have your own interests. You still have these roads that you want to go down. Maybe you're also a super curious person and you're not always curious about the same things. And this is a really positive thing. This is something that you love. But I think that you also love what an individual this person is. They're not like anybody else. The relationship that you have with them is not like any other relationship that you've had, romantic or otherwise. There is something truly special, something that feels truly magical. And you really love that this person is the person that they are. And I think that I get like a really sweet, excited, buzzy feeling. And it just makes me feel like you're very proud of them. You're proud to be with them. You're proud to be seen with them. You're proud of the life that they live and the person that they are. And you seem to be filled with a little bit of giddiness at times with this person, because it's like, oh my God, like this is such a magical, wonderful person, and I get to spend time with them. And you're also special and you're also wonderful. But I think it's really cool because it feels like you're both really excited. And we're going to get into, again, what it's like between you. But there's a great deal of love for everything that this person brings into this relationship as well. The magician has all the tools at their disposal. They have access to everything. And I think that this person just feels so like multifaceted in so many beautiful ways. And you love the aspects that they bring into the emotional world between you, the mental world between you, the passion between you, everything. And I think that you find this person really fascinating, and you love to hear the things that they're up to and the things that they say. And I think like catching up with this person at the end of the day is like one of your favorite things to do. And I think that in some ways they seem like an excited little kid when they're really into something, and it's like really cute. I think that you actually really love how this person can command a room, or how this person is with other people. I mean, the Six of Wands can be about like victory or even attention and things like that. But the Six of Wands is making me think about how this person, I keep seeing them at like parties and things like that. And they're just like, people are really drawn to them. It's like people are drawn to them like flies. It's like they're a light, and they're always kind of like emitting this light and this little sense of joy and this curiosity about other people, that it draws people in and it makes people feel special. But also like, it's so clear how special this person is, and you can see it in other people's eyes. You can see other people recognize how wonderful this person is. And again, I think you are also so wonderful, but because you love this person so much, it like delights you to see other people delighted by them. You're like, yes, I know, right? They're wonderful. I don't really feel like jealousy or insecurity, and that doesn't mean there won't be any, but I think that, the way this person is just, again, it just delights something in you. The Nine of Cups can talk about emotional fulfillment and feeling like you have everything you want and need emotionally. And I think one thing is that you really like how you feel when it comes to this person and what they bring into your life and the relationship that you have. But I think that you also really love and admire the way that this person finds fulfillment, the things that light them up, the things that give them joy, the way that they're always kind of like moving closer and closer to joy and fulfillment and curiosity. All the things that we talked about are things that you will really love about them. And it just feels like a lot of abundance. And there is abundance with some of these cards too, but it feels like it's not lacking. It's not boring. It's not difficult. I mean, that's not to say there won't be moments like that, but there's a lot of joy and a lot of fun and a lot of happiness and a lot of like, there's always something to be interested in. And I do wonder if you're meeting this person, like if you're older and you've had other relationships in the past, and I mean, you could meet this person young too, but it makes me wonder if, if you're like 45, and I'm not calling you old, it's just like you're not 20 years old, but if you're 45 and you are meeting this person now, you may have gotten bored with them when you were 35 or 25. Like, this may not have been as enticing and exciting as it is now. There's just a specific message for some of you that you're meeting when the time is right, because now the magic can finally happen. So let's see what it will be like between you when you first meet or first come together. And I feel like I want to shuffle this again real quick. Well, that was a really excellent shuffle. So I want to do it again. All right. What will it be like between you at first? The Two of Cups. The Queen of Cups. Strength. And Temperance. Okay, interesting. Well, I was feeling some kind of like fiery attraction energy when I was pulling the cards, and so I'm kind of surprised it didn't come out in the cards, but I'll mention it since it's there. It does feel like pretty quick, like physical attraction. Although again, I don't see it in the cards, but I feel it. It's so interesting. There have been some similarities to group one. So if you were also interested in checking out group one and you didn't already, you may find some messages there too. These are different readings, but I do pick up on certain similarities. So when you first encounter each other, or you first get together, there is some really like soothing and lovely energy. I think there is pretty quickly a feeling of emotional safety between you, of kind of feeling like you can sort of just trust this person and this person can trust you. There's an ease here where it just feels like something makes sense. Although there is a little bit of kind of questioning whether or not this will work. So there's something right off the back that feels like calming and that kind of makes sense. And yet I think, and maybe it's more of a mental thing because it feels like emotionally things kind of make sense. But then I wonder if like mentally you're kind of thinking through all the reasons it won't work. Or you're just noticing big differences between you. I mean, of course we could say in this Two of Cups, one of them is a mer person and one of them is a human. So, but the Two of Cups for me is typically a card of like really understanding another person and kind of clicking immediately and having a whole lot in common. And so even if you're from two different worlds, there's something that right away links you and bonds you and makes you feel comfortable around the other. And it's making me think about, actually, I just started reading this book, Normal People, and I won't like spoil anything, but there's a little bit of that just even right in the beginning where there are two people who kind of are in different worlds but connect. And there's a feeling here of that and kind of maybe wondering like, is my family going to accept this person? Are my friends going to accept this person? Do we have lifestyles that are similar enough that we can work together? Like, or it could even be where you feel like maybe this person has certain expectations in relationship that like you don't know that you can fulfill, or vice versa, where you're even just kind of making assumptions because you don't know this person well enough. Like, if this person climbs mountains every weekend and you're thinking to yourself like, oh my God, they're going to expect me to climb mountains every weekend and I don't want to do that. Like there could be something like that where you're worrying, if I could say that correctly, about your compatibility. But there's so much like immediate chemistry, and it's not just physical chemistry. There's chemistry with like being able to talk to one another and feeling comfortable around each other right away. There's just something very comforting about this. The Temperance card is giving me some of these same messages where there's this kind of blending of two worlds to make one thing, and part of you believes in that and part of you feels like it's possible, but it seems like a small part of you kind of questions that. And I see that with the Strength card as well, of kind of feeling like you get a little bit in your head about whether or not this can work. And yet in the Strength card, we often see someone with a lion or another like, dangerous or large animal. And it's like other people might be scared of this, and yet it just makes sense. You're able to form something that feels like calm and good and right that maybe to other people wouldn't work, but it works perfectly for you. The Queen of Cups is making me think about trusting yourself and trusting your intuition and trusting the fact that you feel so emotionally safe with this person. So Yeah, I think really what you need to know about what it's like between you at first is that trust the fact that you feel really special, that you feel like there's something really special here, and to just kind of flow with things. And I think that even though there's like easy talking between you, there could be some miscommunications where like maybe both of you are not saying certain things like your fears or your worries or your anxieties, or even saying like how important this feels and how you want to move towards something. I wonder if it doesn't feel romantic right off the bat, even though both of you are feeling something really special, because there may be a little bit of worry about like incompatibility. And I have to say, it doesn't feel like a big deal to me. It kind of feels like it's in your head a little bit, where, again, there may be some assumptions around the other person's expectations, or even it could be like in your head, you always thought you were going to marry this very specific type of person. And even though this person feels the way you've wanted to feel, they may have like a different height or their different interests or a different job or something than you like expected. And so you might be like, this feels right, but you're like overthinking like a list you've made or something like that. And this isn't saying that you should settle for something that you don't want, but I think that it's possible for some of you, you could be surprised that this truly is what you want. Like another thing could be like, maybe you always expected to be with someone in your same culture or your same religion or something like this, or the expectation was always there with your family or something. And then you meet this person that's not that, but they're otherwise so perfect. And it just takes a little bit of mental reworking, to come away. Or like, for some of you, it may be like you've always had a certain type, and then this person's not exactly your type, but they become your new type. So let's find out what you're like together in the future. The Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the Ten of Cups. Okay. So what do you two like together down the line? Maybe when you're happily married or committed to one another. Well, we get the heat now with the Ace of Wands. So I'm telling you, there is a lot of physical attraction and physical energy. And it's interesting because I think this was the case in group one as well, where the passion shows up even more as you are together. The Seven of Pentacles has a really interesting image on it for this card. We have a pregnant mermaid and with their partner. So for those of you that want children, that want to have kids with somebody, this is a positive sign in that direction. For those of you that already have kids and want to know if this will work well with somebody one day, this is positive for that. But it does not have to be about children, about birth, about kids, anything like that. This can also be about building something together and working towards something together and creating something. Oftentimes, children and pregnancy and things come through in tarot or stuff or things like this to represent projects and building something and creating something. It can be about creation and it can be about abundance. The Seven of Pentacles is working towards something and building something and putting time into something long-term, something that can take a while to build. And usually we see one person in the Seven of Pentacles. Here we have two figures working on something together, putting love into something together. And sometimes the Seven of Pentacles can feel like a toil. It can feel discouraging. It can feel like something that takes a really long time. But we have like this kind of feeling of like calm excitement and like the joy of the wait as you do something together. you're not on your own anymore with something. You now have someone to do it with, and it brings a sense of joy and excitement. This also like is unsurprising in a reading we see with two people coming together for a long-term relationship. You're working on long-term things together. This can also be about like buying a house and rehabbing it, or working toward a dream both of you have always had, like living in a house at all if you've always lived in apartments, or creating a family, like I said, together in some way, even if it's just a feeling of family between the two of you or the other people that you already know in your life that aren't like your kids. Even having pets, or like growing a garden together. This is cool. So in the long term, you work on things together, you build things together, and you're creating a sense of abundance, which can be monetary or material abundance, along with emotional abundance and a feeling of like, again, a sense of having family with the 10 of Cups. So whether or not it's kids for you, there's still a sense of community together and working together. And even in the 8 of Pentacles, we usually have one figure. We have all these like different figures in this card, and it's this feeling of coming together and working together. And it brings me back to the beginning of the reading, where it really felt like this person works well with other people, has other people in their life, likes to engage with other people. There's a social aspect to all of this. And even if you're a little hermiting introvert that doesn't like to be around lots of people, there's something positive in this for you, where there's a sense, a feeling of like family and connectedness that's easy and that doesn't feel draining or difficult or stressful, or these kinds of things. Sometimes for people that like to hide away, it's just people can be too much. But this is different kind of people where it builds you up too. And there's a sense of like working together with others, but not, but then there's this energy of just being with your partner and, not always having to engage with others, but there is some of that here. So I'm going to say it. The Ace of Wands, again, this talks about passion for me and feeling, it feels like you feel very close to one another physically, and that there's, even not physically, there's a sense of intimacy between the two of you where you deeply trust the other person. I think that whether or not you consider yourself an affectionate person, you might end up being quite affectionate with this person, and that you work really well together. It's like in some ways, in like a lot of different ways, actually, you fit together like puzzle pieces, like things just make sense. So whatever feelings or thoughts that you have in the beginning around like uncertainty with this person end up completely fading with time. Like it's just like, holy shit, are we compatible? Like not only do we have insane chemistry, but we are insanely compatible. And I think that you'll find that this person is really great at compromise and really great at long-term relationship energy, that you just continue to feel safe and you feel even safer over time. I also wonder, actually, for some of you, there could almost be something where you'd already determined what your life was going to look like and you're like very set on that. And then once this person comes in and like you love one another and you start building a life together, you realize that you're open to other ways of living life or other things. Like if you had like a very strict set schedule for how your life was going to go, for example, you might find that you become more flexible around that. There could be something that changes for you around something that you always like assumed to be the case or you always wanted to happen. And now it's like, I've changed my mind. Something may be really changing within you. And even within this other person, I think that you will find this person to be an excellent, loving, wonderful partner, that they put a whole lot of energy into this relationship, and that you feel very loved and very cared for in a lot of ways. Again, I think you could be working towards something together, and this certainly could be like career-wise or a project or something that involves money. But there could be some abundance that happens as you are together for the long term. But I think that you will find joy in the things that you work on and the things that you work on together. And there's just like a pleasurable feeling of being with this person. And again, it's not probably going to be every single moment of every day, but there's this overall energy of feeling lifted by this relationship and feeling very happy. And the 10 of Cups is like, ultimate happiness and ultimate joy. And there's a lot of flow in this card, and there's just a whole lot of abundance. I think that your life really sprouts all these beautiful, abundant things with this person. And I think that you're really, really going to consider yourself lucky to be in love. And I think that you're going to be truly, genuinely so in love. This isn't a relationship that is for convenience or because other people want you to have it or because it makes sense. It is because it feels correct to you. It feels right. It's something is just fulfilling about it. And I think that if there are people in opposition to this relationship, that ultimately they are going to become incredibly supportive of it. And again, it's like some of you may come from like different worlds a little bit, but I think that you're going to form something just really incredible together and really so beautiful. And I'm really enjoying the energy I get to feel during this reading. So let's get one more card to find out like maybe a sign or a symbol that it is this person when you meet them or that they're on their way in. And I wouldn't necessarily take this part overly seriously either if it just, but I think for some people, we like a sign to look for. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is like, it could be around getting a new job or maybe a new income stream or like something about like receiving money or a gift could be happening around this time. Like maybe you get a new job and then you finally meet this person or they get a new job. But as far as like signs and symbols, we have a treasure chest. So if you start like coming across constant things that reference treasure or treasure chests, or you see little chests like in stores, or gold coins, like it could be actual gold, but it could be like even like those gold chocolate coins, like something around like, or you keep like seeing pennies or coins as you're walking around or like randomly here and there. I see a pearl necklace. So there could be something around pearls or oysters or jewelry, and certainly around goldfish or coral. And again, I just keep being drawn to the fact that this is the Ace of Pentacles. So there could be something where there's a new beginning happening, whether it is small or large. It could be a very small new beginning where it kind of thrusts you into new energy, even if it's subtle. And because of that, you come together. But I think that's all I have for you today, Group 2. So I just want to thank you for spending time with me. And if this reading was enjoyable or helpful for you, please let me know by liking the video. It's really helpful for me. Leave a comment if you feel up for it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you again soon. Okay? Bye. Hi, Group 3. You chose the pre-night and the Mystical Cats Tarot. Welcome to your reading today. We are finding out who you're going to marry or commit to for the long term, and we are going to start with who they are. We are also going to look at what they might look like, what you will love the most about them, what it will be like between you at first and in the future, and then a sign that it's them. So I've already shuffled this deck and we are going to dive right in. With that said, if what you're hearing doesn't sound like someone that you would want to marry, you might be in the wrong group, and it's totally okay to check out group 1 or group 2. or watch them if you want to anyway, because you could have messages in multiple groups. So let's get into this. I did shuffle this deck, but I'm now having the urge to give it one more shuffle. So again, we're going to start with who this person is, maybe what they're like, get some information about them. Okay. Three of Pentacles. I kind of think this was the card we pulled, the first card we pulled for the last group. The Eight of Wands. Six of Pentacles. And finally, the Page of Wands. Okay, so we've got earth, fire. So this person very well could have earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, or fire signs, Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries in their chart, or that could be their sun sign. But regardless of whether or not that's in their astrology chart, they do have earthy and fiery energy. So there's a part of them that is very grounded and maybe very practical and stable and reliable and solid and maybe even slow moving. And then they have a part of them that's very quick moving and passionate and creative and curious and perhaps spicy. So it's an interesting blend of energy that this person has. And I think that they keep things interesting while also being a solid, stable force that can be relied upon. It's an interesting message that I've gotten. It's interesting mostly because I've gotten it in every single group, but each of these three people really seem to care about others. And I mean, that's great. You really want that in a partner, right? But, there's an energy of not just looking out for themselves, they look out for others as well. And but this person definitely finds their needs also quite important, their needs and their desires. So they prioritize themselves while also ensuring that other people are protected and loved and have their needs met and things like that. I get a lot of curiosity with this person, which I got in, I believe, group 2 as well. This person has a great deal of curiosity and interest in other people, in the way things work. And they may have very niche interests, or they get very, very focused when they're interested in something, and they could be very concentrated. And it could this could be the type of person actually where it makes me wonder if they have a little bit of they might be slightly neurodivergent, because it seems like sometimes time can just pass by while they're super, super focused on something. And they're like, that wasn't 8 hours. It was an hour and a half. And you're like, no, it was 8 hours. So something like that could happen with them. They could have a profession or a job in service to other people, or where they help other people in some way. I think when they want to do something and they're motivated or inspired, they just zoom off and they do it. I think that this person could also have a creative line of work or creative hobbies of some kind, because there is a lot of creative energy here, as well as suddenly feeling inspired and then running off to do that thing. So whether that is art or writing or growing things or whatever it is, there's many ways of being creative. It seems like this person has some of that energy. We're going to get more information about what they might look like, but they might be a redhead. Of course, that's not going to be the case for everyone, but it's interesting to me because this person's energy is very sometimes it feels like they're so kind of slow and rock solid, and they think things through, and they are can be kind of quiet. And then there's these other times where they're just zooming off to do things and they're very inspired and they're very talkative and very chatty and they're, and it's like, I think that you'll probably like both sides of this person, but it could be really interesting how sometimes it's like a light gets flicked on and then they're like, talk, 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 do. And then other times they're just like so relaxed. That's what it feels like with them. They may like taking care of other people that they love, either being very affectionate or doing things for other people or giving people things, or they may like to feed people or just do things that kind of make people feel cared for. I think that this is part of what lights this person up and what makes them feel purposeful. I do sense a little bit of irritation energy with this person. Not that they're an angry person per se, or at all, but that they may be prone to getting irritated. Like I see them kind of like rolling their eyes at people or kind of getting their feathers ruffled a little bit and like needing to like go do something by themselves for a little bit. But I feel that they might also have a slightly irritating energy for other people. And I'm not saying that this person's going to irritate you or be irritated by you, but you might have to hear about them like venting about someone else a little bit here and there. And I also don't think that they're negative. I think that you guys might even like laugh together. Like you might make them laugh about something and then they're not annoyed anymore, but they may be like kind of like stomping their feet about like something that happened at work. And once they get it out, they can move on. This doesn't feel like the type of person that hangs on to a lot of like, what's the word? They're not constantly like mad at people forever. They get like annoyed about something, they vent it, and then they're on to the next thing. But I think that this is part of what makes this person kind of like a passionate person. Like they feel things and they express themselves and then they move on to the next thing. And they're not, again, there's a stability thing with them where they do come across as like steady and consistent and reliable and these kinds of things, but they have a spicy nature to their personality where they can get, maybe even a little dramatic or, they might have like they might enjoy venting sometimes. Like it's kind of fun for them to like kind of, if they're complaining about something that happened at work, it's not dragging you down. It's actually like making you laugh at how like they're telling the story. And so I think that there's maybe something fun in that for them and for you when they do get a little bit irritated by something. And I think that it might be fun for you to like even gossip a little bit together, There may be something about them where they like to figure things out and solve puzzles. And so they may just in their spare time or, when they're trying to relax, they do like Sudoku or crosswords, or you guys put jigsaw puzzles together. But I think that their mind works in an interesting way and they really enjoy solving a problem, and they don't have this need or desire to do it on their own. They like solving problems with other people. It is quite possible that this person, whether creativity is in their job or in their hobbies, that they will get, or they do get attention for something that they put out there, whether that is something they've written, something they've created, music, whatever it is, they may get some attention for that. And it's likely to be something that they would work on with other people, some type of a collaboration. I think that this person certainly has a side to them that plans for the future and wants to have a sort of loose plan, and yet they have an impulsive nature to them where they can be quite flexible, or they like to do things spur of the moment, or they're kind of spontaneous. And so it kind of feels like this is the type of person who feels at times like a walking contradiction, where they confuse themselves, because it's like sometimes they're so earthy and sometimes they're so fiery, and I think it surprises them as much as it surprises other people. And they could, like, if you're going on vacation, for example, and this person might really like to travel as well, if you're going on vacation with this person and they're like, okay, let's plan our itinerary, and they like have it all typed out and printed out in like a binder, and then you get to the location and then they get excited about things they see and they go totally off track, like, ooh, let's go do this instead. And they bring a sense of fun into things, and yet there's always this kind of underlying structure by which they live their lives. So they're a lot of fun, and yet you can rely on them and you can trust them. But they're also like a real person, you know? Yeah, with the Page of Wands, again, I'm thinking that they might love to travel or want to travel with someone. They may live in another location currently, or when you meet, or before you meet. They could be quite talkative and quite chatty at times, but they are not always. But we have a lot of chattiness here with the Eight of Wands as well as the Page of Wands, and being quite talkative at times. And I think they really like to exchange ideas. So what might they look like? Let's find out. I told the other two groups, and I'm going to tell you, let's not take this part too seriously, okay? If something vibes like you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely the type of person I'm attracted to. If it's a sign for you, take it. But if this doesn't sound like someone you'd want to be with, don't worry about it. Just see if the energies of the reading, if you connect to those. But let's see what this person might look like. Thick. They might be on the thicker side. Medium skin. Could have bangs. Big eyes, hairy, light skin, wears all black, and lean. Okay, so this makes me think, because we're getting super different things like thick and lean, medium skin, light skin, we're getting like kind of a more feminine trait and a more masculine trait. I think that this is just reiterating that this is a collective reading and there's going to be different people here, and the energy might be the same, but the physical features and the way someone looks could be very different. So this could be someone with a curvier or a thicker or comfier body. This could be someone that's more lean, more athletic, or more thin. They certainly could have different colors of skin. This is almost like not helpful, right? But I think that some of these things are for like specific people watching this. Like if you are really into people with bangs or women with bangs, like this could be a confirmation for you that this person could have that kind of a hairstyle. If you're really into hairy men or hairy people, or even if you're not and you could be, this could be that. Like this is, just speaking of who this could be. They could wear all black. They could wear all like monochrome colors, or they wear like all denim, like the Canadian tuxedo. But I think big eyes is coming through because this is again talking about their eyes, and eyes came through in all of the groups, and like how this person might have really beautiful eyes or really big eyes or really, expressive eyes, like they have quite an expressive face. And this again makes me think about their curiosity and their eyes widening, and even their flair for the dramatics when they're telling a story. So you can take any of this or not, but I want to move on to the next question. So we are going to look at what you will love most about this person. So let's just tell us a little bit more about them too. So what will you love most about this person? Ace of Wands. Ten of Pentacles. the Eight of Cups. And finally, the Eight of Pentacles. So what will you love most about this person? Well, when the Eight of Cups came out, I also saw the Death card in the deck, which made me think about release and letting go. And so I think something that you really like about this person is their ability to let things go. And it's this similar energy that I felt earlier where they don't hang on to things forever. They don't hold on to grudges. They don't, it's possible they have a grudge or two, but for the most part, they're very forgiving and they let things go and they don't let things bother them forever. I also feel like they allow things to transform. They allow relationships to transform and evolve and change. They allow the people around them to become more of who they are, change who they are. They don't expect people to be the same forever. And they seem to be very, I think it's the fiery aspects of them, but they're very changeable in the sense that they're allowing of change. They're open to change. They're flexible, especially when it comes to the people around them, it seems like, or even the circumstances around them. They may not always love it, but they don't expect things to stay the same forever, and they're totally okay with things evolving and transforming. And they're open to, this person seems very open to like, they seem optimistic. So again, that kind of gives me like, sometimes they say Sagittarians tend to be optimistic, although I'm close to quite a few Sagittarius, and I don't know that I would say that's the first thing to describe them, but this person does seem like hopeful, and they tend to see the silver lining and the good in things. And so as things change, they're more likely to look at how that's going to benefit them or benefit the whole. So this is a really positive quality in them, and that it feels like you don't feel like you have to always be the same. You can change your career. You can try something new. You can change your hair. You can wear something you've never worn before. And this person is like, okay, cool. Like they celebrate with you. They cheer you on. They are very encouraging and very loving when it comes to these kinds of things. And again, we have both fire and earth showing up here once again. So this is indicative of them having these earthy and fiery qualities, and that you really like both sides to this person, and that you do feel very safe and very taken care of. There's abundance energy here, and feeling like abundant in this relationship, and that there is plenty, and that you are getting enough from this relationship and from this person. And it seems that they feel the same way as well. If you are wanting to have a family, and what I'm hearing is a brood for somebody, that is a word you've been using when it comes to like a family, like you want like a lot of kids or a lot of pets or something like that. This can talk about these things happening for you, and you having a very like happy brood, happy family, happy feeling of community with this person and the other connections that you have, whether that's children or something else. And if you are parents, like if you are blending families, or if you are going to have kids together or something like that, you really feel like this person is a solid, good, trustworthy parent, that even if you don't have kids, they seem like they would be a good parent. That's this kind of a person. Like they are responsible and dependable, and yet they're also like a lot of fun and very playful. And so it's this really good blend of like, this is someone who is a really great parent, whether or not you are choosing to go down that path. I do feel like, and it just feels like realistic, but I think like what I'm seeing is like moments where you're like slightly irritated with each other, and so you're like slightly passive aggressively doing your own thing in your house and like not talking for an hour, and then kind of like getting tired of doing that and just pretending nothing happened, unless it's a big deal. But like with these little things, and then it's like, let's just have fun again. So there's some of that as well. I think that you really love how passionate they can be and how they, again, I want to talk about their little bit of a dramatic flair. I don't think they're dramatic generally, but they have a drama to them, especially like when they're telling a story or when they're like at a party, that kind of thing. And I think it's something that they're really good at making you laugh and telling a fun story and engaging you and keeping your attention. And I think that they might tease you a little bit, or you do that to each other in a, not a mean way, but like in a funny way. I hear a lot of giggling. And so I think this is like sometimes really like silly and playful and fun. And this brings a lot of joy to your life as well as to theirs. I think sometimes they really try to contain their fiery nature and they try to keep it contained, but it almost like bursts forth in a more hilarious way at times. And I think whether they mean to or not, they have you laughing quite a bit. But with that said, again, I sense their little bit of their irritation that sometimes happens. Like I think that especially if they are a fire sign. And I'm not saying that all fire signs are this way, but I notice it sometimes in certain fire signs where they're prone to getting like hurt a little bit more easily, or like their fuse is a little bit shorter sometimes. And so this could feel like that. It doesn't feel like they're angry or mean or they're easily angered all the time. It's just that they run a little bit hot, I think. And they might physically run a little bit hot and be very warm. But I also think that sometimes you say like a meaningless thing and they're like, what? And you're like, hold on. I didn't mean anything by that. So I think that could happen at times. And I think these things are coming through just to, again, bring in the kind of realistic things that happen when we love someone, when we live with someone, when we are close to someone. But I think that this person is just incredibly loyal and they'll give you the shirt off their back. They're very giving to those they love. And once they've committed to you, they are so locked in and so committed, and that it feels like they don't really ever question this. And we'll get more information in a second about what it'll be like between you. So we'll see if anything more comes up with that. But yeah, I really feel like this person doesn't hold on to things. Like if they do get a little bit irritable, they very quickly come back to center and they're not angry about it. And they don't feel like a punishing person to me. They feel like a pretty sweet person actually that just has a fire burning within them, which I think that you find very attractive and endearing. Yeah. Okay. So what will it be like between you at first? Just make sure these are all turned around. It just bugs me. Okay. I'm going to shuffle this again. So what will things be like between you and this other person at first or in the beginning? The Hermit. The Two of Cups. The Three of Cups. And the Wheel of Fortune. I think the Two of Cups have come out in all three readings. What is it like between you two at first? Well, and I wonder if the Two of Cups has been in this section in all three readings, because this is familiar energy. So right away, and I guess unsurprisingly, if this is someone you marry or you commit to for the long term, there is something between you very quickly. Some kind of a mutual understanding, something similar about you. It kind of feels like a quick connection where it almost feels like, even though we have two major arcana cards, at first, it may not necessarily feel serious. I wonder if you meet this person at a party or an event or a celebration of some kind, or they're in your friend group already, or you have mutual friends, even if you don't know each other right away. But either as soon as you meet, something is interesting to both of you about the other, or even though you're in the same kind of circle, it's like one night you have like, a really interesting conversation or something, and then it sparks something, but it doesn't feel like immediate love or lust or wanting or desire or like this is my soulmate. Although there could be some thoughts around this, like it's like there could be like a momentary thought of this is someone important, and then it just kind of fades away. Like at first, it kind of feels like I really like this person as a person. And there could be crush energy. There could be some of this, but it kind of almost feels like they feel like a lot of fun, or they feel really interesting, or they feel like someone you'd like to talk to again. But there's this energy that I feel where it doesn't feel super serious right off the bat. We do have the Hermit, actually. So this makes me think one or both of you, and it kind of feels like you a little bit, but I don't know for sure. One or both of you feels like they're kind of in hermit mode. Like they're not open to dating. They're maybe healing from a relationship. They, are just kind of doing their own thing. They're maybe not even thinking about dating, or something like this could be going on. And so it kind of feels like I'm really happy being a happy little hermit, doing my own thing, or being, even if you're not hermiting, like just kind of being single and enjoying that. There's something about either spending time on your own or being single that one of you or both of you is really enjoying. And so even if you feel a connection, you're not necessarily thinking it's romantic right away, or you're not necessarily diving right in. And there's this feeling of like wanting to leave it up to fate and to the gods and to the universe and to whatever energy exists outside of you. It feels like, well, I don't need to be in control of this. Let's just see what happens. And it makes me wonder a little bit if one of you like did kind of try to control things in the past and it didn't go well, or maybe one of you had relationships that weren't that great. And so it's like, let's not dive into this anymore. There could be something like that going on. Or even if you haven't dated in a long time, or you've given up on dating, or you've never dated, something like this could be going on where it just isn't your first thought that this is going to become something romantic, but there is a connection right away. There's something that kind of bonds you right away. And I think you both have you like each other and you have a curiosity about each other, even if right away it doesn't necessarily feel romantic. It could, you could be like, oh, this person's attractive. I wouldn't mind, seeing what happens. But the overall energy is kind of like friendship and fun and conversations and enjoying when you run into this person. And it feels like for some of you that this person is like in your circle, your social circle, whether that's your friend group or you work together, or they know one of your family members or something like that. You may not think about them a whole lot, but when you end up at the same event or in the same space, you always you're like, oh, this person, I'm so glad they came, So that's kind of what it feels like to me at first, but let's see what it's like, what you are like together in the future. I also want to say with this Three of Cups, we usually see these three figures celebrating, but they kind of look a little hungover to me, but they look really relaxed, and it makes me think about this person feeling really relaxing to talk to or to spend time around too. Even if things sort of proceed a little bit slowly, it feels easy around them pretty quickly, and that's a really nice feeling. So I just want to shuffle this again because I want to, and then we're gonna find out what you're like together in the future. I don't know. I feel like I'm more nitpicky right now in your group. And so that makes me wonder again, if this person or you tends to be a little nitpicky about certain things, and not trying to call you out. You're allowed. Okay. Oh, see, I just can't right now. I have to fix it. I wonder if there's like a little bit of OCD, just a hint of OCD going on between with one of you. Dang it. Okay. What do you guys like together in the future? The Sky Kitten, which is the Page of Swords. The Seven of Cups. The Page of Pentacles. And the Sun. Okay, so we have 2 pages, which I think is kind of cute. And it makes me think like each one of you is one of these pages. And if they are the Earth one, you could be the Sky one or the Air one. So you could be an air sign. I also feel like you could be a water sign, but I don't know. You could also be Earth or fire. But it feels like you bring 2 different energies to this relationship and that they coexist really well and they meld together really well. And yet you are both different in ways that are fascinating to the other person. And I think that, so it's like, because these are pages, it's making me think about children and how like, you know, when you're a kid, you can like be friends with almost anybody and it's so easy. And when you're an adult, it's a little bit different. Like we're a lot more kind of defined. And so some people can be friends with anybody, but it tends to be less easy than it was when you're a kid. You can be like, want to be my friend? Like as an adult, that doesn't happen as often. And so it makes me think about, even though you have differences and you're not like the same exact person, of course, but you are different. There's a kid-like energy here where these differences matter a whole lot less, and that there's a playful quality between you, I think, even at the beginning, but as you move forward in this relationship and in the future, there's a kind of a curiosity about one another, like a wonder about one another, an easy mutual joy and love for one another and one another's differences, and kind of feeling like it's not the differences you notice all the time. It's the things that are similar. It's the way that you are together. It's like when you see 2 best friends that are like polar opposites, it's this kind of energy where something just works between you. And I always love seeing like the kind of this playful childlike energy come through love readings, because I like that energy, but I think it's so nice when 2 people can kind of like be sweet and playful with each other and let their kind of kid selves out a little bit, and that it doesn't feel immature. It doesn't feel childish. It just feels happy, especially with the Sun. With the Sun card, we often see a child in this card. So again, there is so much childlike energy. So this is really cool, actually, because it seems like as you get together and you move forward and you're in a romantic relationship or a partnership, it really draws out these really wonderful, innocent, sweet, fun qualities in both of you. And the relationship becomes kind of childlike and fun. Even if you are building a family or building a business or moving toward very like serious things, you're having more and more fun as time goes on. It's like this is the type of relationship that feels lighter and more joyful over time, that it doesn't become heavy or hard or depressing or dark. It's like you both are like the light of each other's life, and it brings light into other people's lives as well. I think that being in relationship to each other opens up so many possibilities. There are so many now new directions that you can go in that you may not have considered before or weren't possible for you before. And I think that you both open up the other's mind to new ideas, or even like just experiencing things that the other person hasn't before. Like if one of you, it makes me think, like, I dated someone a long time ago where we introduced each other to new foods. Like, he had never had Indian food before, and I had never had like his culture's. I'm not Indian, but like he was from another culture. I had never had his culture's food before, and like we had so much fun. I mean, we both just really loved food, so that was really fun for both of us. But it was like, in these ways, you might open the other person's mind to something they knew existed, but they'd never tried or had before, or even things that they didn't know exist, and vice versa. And this is really fun. I think, again, this is so interesting because I feel like there's been certain things that have come through all three of these readings. And one of them, I think, is curiosity. There's a curiosity present, which is a really wonderful quality to look for in a partner, if you ask me. Because, they don't get bored. It doesn't get boring. I think there's so many things for us to experience in life and to be curious about, and not to close our minds and limit ourselves, and instead to be open. And I think this person is really fun, and so are you. And I think that you have so much fun together. Even if one of you comes across as maybe a little prickly toward other people or something, like, it's like you get each other. And so where other people don't get certain things about you or this person, you each do. And so there's this like mutual just love and respect and joy to be together. Such an interesting 7 of Cups, because we have these like bubbles instead of the classic cups that we see these different things in. And these bubbles also feel playful to me. It also feels childlike. It also feels like returning to a place that you used to be when you were in your youth, where things were more magical and things were more fun and you could slow down and enjoy. We have a slow down here in the Sun as well. And the Sun card, where it's like, let's enjoy life. I also do feel like you're probably going to do some traveling together, and that you're going to have some really special memories, and even like really great photos to look back on, or photos that you share with other people. I think that, you could go on a trip, and 10 years from that trip, you're still like laughing about things that happened. You're going to create a lot of memories with this person that are very joyful and that you love kind of like bringing back up and talking about. I think there's going to be a lot of inside jokes, a lot of, just feeling deeply connected to this person. I feel a lot of warmth between you. And not only is that like maybe tenderness and affection and love, but it's just kind of a comfy, cozy feeling of like safety and being taken care of. Yeah, I think there's a lot of silliness between you, and certainly this person has a silly quality to them. And I wonder if you also do, or if it develops more and more. I think I can definitely tell the longer that you are together, and this certainly feels like a very long relationship, like spanning decades. It feels at them like, you know how sometimes when you get close to someone, you start like saying some of the things they do, or they start like laughing like you do. Like you start to kind of pick up on, and I don't know if mimic is the right word, but like mimic things that the other person does. And I'm noticing this with you two, where you start to like mirror each other in certain ways. Like the same things kind of start to make you both laugh, or it also feels like you can look at each other across a room and know exactly what the other person is thinking. This feels like a true friendship, not just a romantic relationship. Like you really are the best of friends. So let's get one more card to get a sign that it could be this person when you meet them, or that they are on their way. Let's get a sign for those of you who want a sign. I don't know why I want to shuffle this again. Okay, one card for a sign. Okay, we've got the 2 of Pentacles. Well, on the one hand, this can be about being at a place in your life where either you're starting to feel like things are really balanced, or you may be balancing multiple things, and so you're not really interested in romance or thinking a lot about romance as well. Or you could be really involved in work or projects at the time that they come in as well. This also looks very autumnal. So whether or not you live in a place where the leaves change color in the autumn, it does seem like it could be the autumn time of year for you or for this other person, depending on where you live. But also these like fruits or berries, they look like plums to me. And these look like apples. So apples or plums or fruit can be a sign, or even the color, like plum as the color, or orange or yellow or gold. The number 2 could be coming up. So you could be seeing 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. That could be, you could be noticing that a lot on clocks, on signs, people saying it. I kind of feel like there's got to be more than that, but I'm not getting anything else from this card. Let's draw one more for you guys. Okay, and then we have the Knight of Wands. So obviously we have a lot of candles here. So candles or fire imagery. I'm seeing like a candle shop, or even like a witch shop, or a metaphysical bookstore. There could be some sign or something that someone says in a shop like that, or a book that falls off the shelf. Something like that could happen that gives you some kind of a sign. It kind of feels like you're going to be going about your business, and then this just happens to happen. So I'm going to leave it at that. Group 3, I want to thank you for spending time with me today. If this reading was helpful to you or you enjoyed it at all, please let me know by liking the video. Leave a comment if you are up for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again soon. Okay? Bye.